and then we're gonna jump into Who Moved My Cheese, right? You got some good weed, nigga. God,
That's hilarious. You hear me?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Cover2Cover Podcast. I am your host, Jaron Bingham. In today's episode, we talk about change and why you shouldn't fear it and you should always embrace it, by way of Spencer Johnson's book, Who Moved My Cheese? I'm going to go ahead and just jump straight into this book and kind of give everybody the synopsis of it. We're going to kind of go from there. Who Moved My Cheese is a simple parable that reveals profound truths about change. It is an amusing and enlightening story of four characters who live in a maze and look for cheese to nourish them and make them happy. Two are mice named Sniff and Scurry, and two are little people, beings the size of mice who look and act a lot like people. Their names are Him and Ha. Cheese is a metaphor for what you want to have in life, whether it is a good job, a loving relationship, money, a possession, health, or spiritual peace of mind. And the maze is where you look for what you want, the organization you work in, or the family or the community you live in. In the story, the characters are faced with the unexpected change. Eventually, one of them deals with it successfully and writes what he has learned from his experience of the maze in the walls. When you come to see the handwriting on the wall, you can discover for yourself how to deal with change so that you can enjoy less stress and more success, however you define it in your work and in your life. Written for all ages, this story takes less than an hour to read, but its unique insights can last a lifetime. Ugh.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, bro. That's a lot, man. To the good people out there to cover the cover, my phenomenal guest today, my boy, my homie, RJ Miller.
Appreciate it.
How you doing, bro?
I'm blessed, man.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
We are recording this podcast at the end of 2024, but it's going to be released in 2025. And so as we jump into, get ready for the year, this book that you recommended is about change. And so kind of just get into some of the reasons that you chose this book.
I told you that I'm going to be going back to my notes, but
Yeah.
First off, me not being an avid reader and letting that be known to the relationship that I have with my my boss. I've been using this relationship as like a mentoring type of thing. They don't know that, but I look at the things they do and say, and they're always talking about books.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, one of them has written one book himself. He illustrates nothing but children's books, and I work for an author as well. And so, being in that industry, I had to tighten up on those certain skills, and the person that recommended me the book, he said, man, this is a short read, but this is something that is, known in the business realm. Looked that up, did my own research, and I found it to be true.
Yeah.
And so, I was like, okay, I'll definitely take the time to read the book. And as I read the book, I started to see myself through different phases of my life. I see how people say, you can start reading and you can transform and go into certain realms and go into that world. And I kind of saw myself within that book while I read it,
Yeah.
and throughout each character. And so, that's a quick answer to, that's why I chose the
Yeah.
book.
Well, yeah, man, it's for the audience out there, the characters are Sniff, Scurry, Him, and Ha.
Mm-hmm.
And with Sniff and Scurry, it was interesting to see their breakdowns and how their approach to change was. And then, of course, like you said in the beginning, Him and Ha were actual people. And so to kind of see these guys go through this maze and, whatever their cheese is, kind of like you were saying, when I was reading the book, I saw myself just, in certain characters more consistently than I saw in others. And we're going to dive into those characters a little bit more in depth with the podcast. But I'm going to just go ahead and jump straight to question number 2 that I gave you.
Okay.
As Hall went through the maze, he would leave notes for him to read. Which note resonated with you the most?
I appreciate you for giving me that. That actually made me go back and reread the book, actually.
Okay.
I think that the note that I found the most interesting was, it says, the quicker you let go of old cheese, the faster you grow. I mean, the faster you, and it has the ... And so for me, I use the word grow.
Yeah.
So you referenced growth. You said this book is about growth. And for myself, that was the perfect word that just fitted inside of there. And so I took down some good notes, man. My bad, though. So I'm trying to make sure how I put it out here, and like I said, how I portray it. But it says, every day take time to elevate your situation, actions, and choices. Reflect on what you did in various circumstances and consider what you could have done or said differently.
Yeah.
Ask yourself how these reflections bring you closer to your goals. Let go of old habits and behaviors that aren't helping you move towards a better, more elevated place. That's the notes that I took for what I gained from that situation right there.
Yeah.
I don't know how that relates, but it felt something, and it resonated that within me. Like, if you want to grow, you got to let go of those old habits.
Yeah.
You gotta think in a new light. And what I appreciated about the notes is how, what I appreciated about the notes was that it gave him like, what's it called, affirmation?
Yeah.
It was like affirmations for him to be able to, see those things and to be able to see something, what he wanted in himself, to be able to move towards that, So
as we close out the year, what's some of the growth you've seen this past year in yourself?
Shit, you seeing it right now, being on this podcast.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like, I'm not a person that's on camera.
Yeah.
I'm typically not a person. I have deep thoughts, I have, me and my friends, we have real conversations all the time. Some of the things that I enjoy doing is all about giving back to our people, folks that look like me. So, I have a lot of things to say, but, growing and being able to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, being in front of a camera is something that I don't like to do. Being recorded is something that I typically don't like to do and don't do,
Yeah.
I grew up in that, bro. I grew up, I'm a 90s baby. I'm sorry, I was born in 92, but I'm a 90s baby, bro. So, like, I grew up around folks where, like, you don't be on the camera, you don't do all that, you feel me? It's just, like, real things that was instilled within me. And so, like, this is just one of the growths that you're seeing right here, right now, is me being on this podcast, talking and being open.
Putting that voice out there is different, man.
It is. Can I follow up on that? I want to ask him too. So, that was the growth for 2024, which is beautiful. What's some growth that you looking forward to for 2025 for yourself?
Doing more of this.
Beautiful.
Doing more of this and figuring out what's my lane within this. Like I said, I've been feeling like I have a voice. I feel like I have something to say and people can relate to what I have to say. And I feel like I have a certain way of putting it out there. And so trying to find that voice and that narrative so that people can pick up what I'm trying to put down.
Yeah. I feel that, man. It's funny. There's a quote by Martin Luther King that I love. And I'm a big quote guy, if you know me. With birth comes birth pains, with growth comes growing pains.
For sure.
And so, I was kind of a similar way. A lot of people may not know, but I used to be an actor back in like my mid-20s. I used to act back in the day. You probably find some clips of me falling around. I get my, young Denzel.
I didn't see your IOB.
You see my shit?
Yeah, sir. I was just about to say, I seen that shit. Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny because I was having a conversation with my actor homies, kind of a similar thing here when I was like, acting is different putting yourself on camera because it's scripted in its own way. And so you kind of have, everything's lined up for you. Whereas where something like this, a podcast where I'm giving my own thoughts, my own opinions, definitely, I give my opinion to anybody for real on some like upfront shit. But, you know what I mean? But like doing it on cameras with all that shit, it's different. But there just kind of came a time for me where I recognized that there were just certain things that I saw, being said, or just the way that society was moving, in which I just thought was just counterproductive to true growth as a people. And, that's ultimately what came with this podcast. It's like, well, let me introduce more good people to society and not push out the, negative, divisive agendas that we so frequently see in media in general. And so, and I may have said this before we even started rolling the podcast, that the reason that I wanted to even start something like this was to just kind of highlight where we have commonalities as a people. Because even growing up, it's shit like this for me. It was kind of set up properly. Like my father put me through this thing called Toastmasters, which is like, you know what I mean? So like all the public speaking shit, like, it was kind of like locked in. But there still is a level of, I want to say, there's times that I can be a little uncomfortable when I know these shits are rolling, just because I just kind of know that it's just like the weight of my words is going to affect somebody in some way. So with that and knowing that, I want to speak as truthfully and as honestly as possible. Which again is why I, read these books, take these notes, and just speak on my experiences. And I don't know how long that was a ramble of, but
that was a good ramble, man. Do you mind if I speak?
Yeah, go
ahead.
It
actually made me think about like me not being a reader, but for some reason, and I talk to my brother about this all the time. Shouts out to Shannon, by the way, man. That's my boy.
Shannon off in the cut. Future.
Blue, you my boy. You hear me?
Future guest. You just don't know it yet.
But, I find this interesting because, like, people have always kind of taken to me. Like, for some reason, shape, or form, like, I've always been put in a position to be able to lead or, call the shots. I don't know where that come from, what it is, but, like.
So, with this book talking about change, how have you navigated change in your entire life, like most consistently? Or even the journey of change?
How about ask that question one more time for me?
Got you. So, I feel like a therapy session now, the way I'm going to ask it.
No, you're good.
The way in your teens, the way in your 20s, now even the way in your 30s, how has your way of navigating change, how has that... Damn, what kind of question am I asking?
I think I'm picking up what you're picking up. Like, the word that you used it earlier and the word that I've been trying to use more often, I think my boy said that it's his word of the year or something like that, like moving with intentions. Navigating the changes have been the intentions that I've had for myself. Like, okay, I see myself here. This is where I'm at right now, but I know that it was always something that I felt within myself, like, yo, I'm meant for something more. You know what I'm saying? And once again, I don't know where that comes from, but it's like I see myself amongst other my peers, and it's like, and not saying like friends or anything like that, but like I see myself amongst peers, and it's like, yo, I think different. We all are human, bro. We all have our own way of thinking. We all should think this about ourselves, right? Like, I'm not trying to say I'm different, like, nigga, we all think different. We all have our own. That's what makes who we are. You feel me? That's what makes us tick. You know what I'm saying? So like, but I just felt that I was meant for so much more than what my circumstances was. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so
you carried that energy.
So so I started moving with the tensions. Like, yo, even with the way I dress and move, like, bro, you can ask my brother. I remember the day I switched up all my clothes, gang. Yeah. I went and started buying polo. Nigga, this one polo was hot. But I went and bought, nigga, I used to go to Tanger Outlet, bro, and go buy polo. Like, I just switched up the mentality that I had, you know what I'm saying? And once I did that, it was on to the races. That's how I went to college. You know what I'm saying? And I fucked up when I was, excuse my language, but I messed up when I was in college too. You feel me? Went back to some of my old ways of thinking and reverted back and did some dumb shit, got in trouble. You know what I mean? Got kicked out of school for some time and had to go serve some time. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I was able to come back. I still had the mindset though, you dig what I'm saying? I knew I messed up, but like my intentions was pure. Even when I went to school and I fucked up, my intentions was pure.
Yeah.
So like when I came home, bounced back, bro, that's how I was able to go to school. Just asked me about going to school. Like nigga, I went back to school, paid for a lawyer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like and got my record expunged. Like I did a whole bunch of things because my intentions was pure about where I wanted to be and where I saw myself.
Yeah. And now you saying you going to Africa next year?
I think I went to Africa.
We're
going to Europe next year. You hear me? Talk to him. My bad. My boy said I got to pop that shit, man. I got to.
Nah, man. It's you know, that's why like this book is so powerful. Like when you recommend it, I knew like it like you were saying, like you have this way, you have this energy that, you know, makes people gravitate to you. Like even when like, you know, when we first met, I was just like, okay, like you had there was a trustworthiness about you. But at the same time, there was still very, like you said, you just like RJ knew what was gonna happen with RJ. You know what I mean? And so people like that. People like energy that knows where it's going. People like specificity, and for that to be in a human, that's why, you know, people gravitated to you, even where we used to work at. And so, yeah, man, it's we talked about any of these questions.
Nah, you didn't got into some of the questions, gang. I think we just did number 2, but you did ask me to mention the +1. You said I think I read that right?
Yeah. Honorable mention, yeah.
Yes. So my second one was, and you know, we kind of just talked about this, but old beliefs do not lead to new cheese. You feel me?
Yeah.
And then my note to that is sometimes I want to revert to living in my comfort zone like him. You know, we have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So that's literally what I just said. You know, but just those are my 2 quotes that I have for number 2.
Well, yeah, it's so my 2 that I had, the first one was smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old. And for me, that talks more with like self-assessment and self-awareness. You know, I try to be as cognizant about, you know, how I'm presenting myself as much as possible, and still balancing out being as authentic as possible, because, you know, nobody likes a fucking robot. And so but I also had, one of my notes was, you know, how can you fix your weaknesses or improve your strengths when you don't check yourself? Or worse, someone who knows your weaknesses can exploit it because of your unwillingness to self-assess.
Talk to me.
And so, you know, that's just kind of always been a thing. It's just, again, it's, man, like we've used the word a few times. It's just that intentionality of life. And there's a quote, I may have said it a few times on this podcast, by Jim Rohn, who says either, you know, you run the day or the day runs you. And so I always try to be, you know, the moment I get up, I always try to be as intentional with every step as possible. And then my honorable mention was, kind of ties in with the same thing. Noticing small changes early helps you adapt to bigger changes that are to come. The note that I had is the check engine light analogy. And so, of course, you know, you get that check engine. It's a small thing that you get it checked out, or else it's going to cost you a couple $1,000s. And then the other analogy that I had was, you know, notice the small things, annual to biannual doctor visits, especially for our community. You know, it's important that the health is wealth. Like it's, regardless of the amount of success that one has, you know, how you treat yourself is, you know, ultimately will speak to you further down the road.
Do you mind if I say something?
Talk to me, bro.
Man, like, first off, 2 things spoke to me, bro, when you was just speaking. The first thing was that, damn, what did you say? My bad. Said, what was the first one that he said? The very first thing, when he started off with his 2. What was the first cheese?
Smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old.
Yeah, so like, the thing that kind of hit me when you was talking about that, bro, is that, you know, you always have to look at yourself. Like, you have to look at yourself. And I was talking to my friends about this. Like, I listen. So, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, we have the saying, like, it doesn't matter what other people think about you. Like, we all hear that, right? But, like, at the same time, you have to listen to what other people are saying about you, though. Like, because that's how people are perceiving you.
Yeah.
If someone is telling you, if you're hearing consistently, yo, you're a fuck nigga. Oh, all you do is play. Or, you know what I'm saying? Lil Bree gonna always say something. You know what I'm saying? You have to listen to those things.
Yeah.
And if you want to grow from that place, if you don't want to be that person that people are saying that you are, you know, you have to be able to first take in what they're saying, because everybody's not going to give you a straight up heart to heart and be like, yo, this is how people are perceiving you, or this is, because most people are going to be upset, you know, they're going to feel targeted or whatever the case may be, right? And so that you have to listen and take in what folks are saying about you, and you know, be honest with yourself. And, you know, just saying that just makes me think about, like, when I was younger. Like, I've always been a big guy, you feel me?
Yeah.
But I remember making the conscious decision of being like, you know what, bro, every summer I'm gonna take my shirt off.
Let's go.
Like, bro, I'm gonna be big nigga with the shirt off. Bro, I'm riding around the city.
Let's go.
Once again,
let's go.
No. Hey, like, I remember taking off my shirt and being like, yo, man, you already know I got titties. Like, what am I hiding for? You feel me? So, like, that was the mentality that I had.
Yeah.
Dog. And so, like, you know, I was honest with myself.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Before I allowed someone else to tell me and check me on something. And so I always check myself, you know, before that check engine. Like, sometimes you gotta just, it's sign. God, I feel like God give us signs. I ain't trying to get spiritual. I told you I'm on a spiritual thing though. But like, God gives us signs all the time, bro. Like, He gives us signs often. And so it's up to you to decipher. Like, nigga, even if you going to the doctor, to whatever the case may be, like, nigga, something, if you're not going to go get checked up, probably he done gave you a sign that nigga, you need to go get checked up. You know what I'm saying? And if he didn't give you that sign, like, maybe you live in that lifestyle to where you know, it's a whole bunch of different ways of how you can pull that back into where you need to know where you're going in life and what you need to be doing. You feel me? But, like, you gotta check yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta check yourself, bro.
Yeah. And that's that is, as I look at my notes, I feel like that was one of the things that I was able to do pretty naturally. So I guess I'm jumping straight into question number 3. And then I'll answer it, and you kind of throw your answers from there.
Okay.
Number 3, I asked, near the end of Hall's journey, he wrote a summary of 7 lessons he learned along the way. Those lessons being the handwriting on the wall. Change happens, anticipating change, monitor change, adapt to change quickly, change, enjoy change, and be ready to quickly change again and again. And then I asked, of those 7 lessons, which one came naturally and which one challenges you the most? The one that I put that challenged me, that came naturally, was anticipating change. And I put down organized sports helped me anticipate change seamlessly, just because I played organized sports from, you know, childhood all the way through college. And so, you just become so accustomed to anticipating change. But, you know, one of the things that challenges me, I put is, forgive me, I'm so fucking high right now, bro. I don't know if I'm gonna edit that one out. That was pretty wild.
You gotta have the blurs or whatever it's called.
But the one that challenges me, bro, was the one adapting to change quickly. So while I can anticipate it and, you know, kind of brace for it, it's one of those things where I kind of find myself a little bit more stubborn. And, you know, I'm reluctant to, kind of like I was telling Jessica outside earlier, I'm kind of reluctant to let certain things, I don't want to say go, but, you know, somewhat of a control freak at times. I can be reluctant to try new things. But, you know, as I was reading this book and as I was kind of like looking at which character that I was probably the most, I felt like I was Sniff's the most. Was that the name of the character? That was the name of
Sniff.
Yeah, Sniff. Because Sniff was more so like comes up and like assesses the cheese and then jumps into it, while Scurry is the one that just takes action. For me, I'm definitely more of the one to kind of come up and kind of assess what I have going on. And at times, like I said, that can make me a little bit it can make me a little bit reluctant to take that next step. And so I guess as I step into 2025, and even with this freaking podcast, man, being more open to change quickly, which also kind of helps me to make decisions more soundly. And so, those are the things that I look forward to in 2025. And so, hopefully by the time this episode drops, adapting to change quickly won't be something that challenges me as much as it has in years past. So
people gonna want more once you put this out here, man. I think they're gonna want to be featured on the podcast because you give normal folks like myself the opportunity to come on here and talk about something that they might love or something that may have touched them, and they might be able to touch others. So yeah. I think that when you release this, bro, you're gonna have to learn that skill really fast because folks are gonna want some more of this. You feel me? Cover to cover, even just the name.
Yeah.
You hear me with your little face behind that joint? Hey, did you see it? Yeah. But you gotta look it up right now, dog. You gotta look at the cover. You gotta flash this on the thing when we talking about this. So make sure you flash this. But
it's funny, man, because I'm trying to think if I want to change it, or at least develop it.
I mean, maybe you can do that, but just know that that's fire.
Yeah.
When I seen it, I loved it.
It really is. It really, and we're gonna have to do a photo shoot too, like, cause when we get the social media stuff together, I forgot to tell you that last one, but like I was already thinking, I was like, we gotta do a photo shoot, like whether we gonna get us an Airbnb and have a whole bunch, like we gotta do like the Malcolm X, like we gotta have you with the books and get you some glasses. We gotta do it. We gotta do it.
Gonna go crazy.
It's gonna go crazy, right? See what I'm saying? See
but
the
you
vision.
got some good energy in here with you.
See, we got to do it.
I mean, that's the thing, man. I want to. It was funny because somebody I forgot who told me. I think it was. I forgot. It was somebody who I was talking to about the podcast. They were like, "Man, you're building a kind of like a digital library." I think you may have told me that. But I was just kind of like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, "Damn, I am." Like, because I do plan on continuing to push this. For as long as foreseeably I can. And so, man, to be able to, idealistically, I would love to do 500 episodes. And to be able to sit back and, by the time, my grandkids are kicking around, like, I have 500 episodes I can, give them to kind of like different conversations, different points of life, different individuals. I'm going to categorize these things, of course, as
it'd be cool once you start getting the authors on here, and maybe you get people to give live feedback in this month. Maybe you have 4 chairs in here, bro. And you got the author and 2 people who read it, one who liked it and one who didn't like it. Maybe
it's a lot of versatility with it, bro.
You feel me? And you can be
It's a lot of versatility with it.
Tons.
And I really want to like make sure it can venture to the philanthropic world consistently and heavily. What does that look like? I don't know yet, but that's one of the things that
I'm gonna let you know, bro. You moving like it. You hear me? No cap. You're moving like it, bro. So like and I think I may have told this story before, but my grandmother she started a reading initiative down in Mississippi back during the pandemic, and for 3rd through 5th graders, just because of the inequities down there. And so, man, there's so many things, bro, that reading has done in my life and that I've seen it do to other people's life. Malcolm X's autobiography, he talks about how even when he was in prison, he felt free because he had books. And I may have said that before. I'm going to continue to say that because it's just so fucking poignant for a man to just sit back and say, even though I was physically confined, I still was free because I had the ability to hop into books and into literature and just explore. Did you answer your questions, bro? I did not.
Bro.
We over here, that's how deep conversations go. My bad, brother. My bad. All right. So my answer, I gotta refer to my notes. So I chose 2. I chose 2 for the first one because a lot of these I felt like they like coincide. They work hand in hand with each other for real, in my opinion. And at least that's the way my mind works. So I chose anticipating change. as well as I chose monitoring change. And the way that I feel that it's all about when I shifted my mindset to be able to know that it's more for me.
Yeah.
And once I had that, I feel like those two just came naturally. They came easy for me to be able to anticipate change, because it's all about the lifestyle. It's all about like this. You ask this question and you ask this question, but like who would you recommend this book to? But like anybody can read the book, but like to be able to receive what's being put out there, what I'm saying? Like you got to be in a certain mind, you have to be in a certain mind space. Yeah. And so, when I changed my mindset, I felt like that's when I was able to say that, okay, anticipating change and monitoring change were the ones that work for me. For the challenge, enjoying change. Enjoying change is the biggest thing for me. So, I'm always on to the next thing, dog. Yeah. Like whatever happens in my life, I be 2-3 steps ahead of it, and that's good and that's bad. Like I never get to sit back and bask in the moment and be like, yo, I did that. Yeah. Like I graduated college, but it might have been like the next day, nigga, I might have been like, what's next? What I'm finna do with my time now? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. What am I finna do? Like I got all this free time. I was just working and doing X, Y, and Z. Now I got a whole bunch of time. Yeah. So I'm always, because I can almost see the future. I can see, at least for my life. Yeah. Like I truly believe that we create our own narrative. So like I don't allow no one to create my narrative. Yeah. Like no matter what you say or think or whatever the case may be, like it's probably not true. It's just something that you thought or said in your own head. But like people try to create their narratives. I don't allow no one to create the narrative for me or where I'm going to be in my life, which I did once upon a time. Like, there was upon a time where I saw nothing but certain things, and people had certain people around me, so there was only certain things that was being said. Please.
Him and Ha, the mice.
For sure.
Like, let's dive into them, because like it's as soon as you said that, one of the things that I appreciated about Ha was like it talked a few times about Ha had this imagination, and he imagined that he was going to find the cheese. And even when he was running around and couldn't find it, going to these different points of the maze and didn't find it, he still had this imagination. And so like the power of the mind to shift, it's always internal. You know what I mean? It's like only worry about the things you can control. I can't control you as a guest. I can only control myself.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like we're all here.
You just said something key.
And talk to me.
No, you just said something key. Like, like you can only control what you can control. Man, my brother was talking about that recently. Like, you have to put in what you're going to put in, and don't worry about what the next person is going to do. Just, continue to move in your manner and make sure that you're staying consistent at that. As long as you do that, I'm not going to go there, but my bad.
The mind of a black man.
Yeah, the mind of it. Beautiful places though. But nah, him and her, nah, like you have friends like you have friends like. Everybody gotta know their role in life. First off, let's start there. Like we all have roles. Everybody not meant to be a opponent. Even though we have greatness hovering around our head, everybody's not meant to pull that, grab it. You know what I'm saying? Some people are meant to do whatever it is that they're doing and play their role in society and in life, bro. Unfortunately, that's what it is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not a queen and a king. Some people are pawns, or however you want to look at it, poker, whatever. My bad. Having friends like him and her, like you have to have those situations. But the people, what's special about that relationship, in my opinion, is that you have her, who is finding his own journey, and he's writing these notes down not only for affirmations for himself, but he's also leaving notes for his friends. You get what I'm saying? And so that what he's doing, that relationship works in two ways. Now, Hall could have sat back, which it happened. So that's why I said I don't think that one character resonates with me. Yeah. I feel that they all pop into my life different times. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like, I could tell you right now that Hall, him is trying to creep his way into my life, and that's why you asked about the growth 2025, where I see myself doing more of this. I have to speak it. I'm speaking it out there because him is trying to hold me back a little bit.
So the fourth question I had is, what do you think happened to him? Because at the end of the maze, Hall ends up finding this, land of cheese with Sniff and Scurry. And, after Hall has left all these notes in the handwriting, like leaving these things for him, we see him the entire time was him. He was him. So what ultimately do you think happened to that character?
My bad. First off, you cut me off. Let me start there.
My bad. Go back.
I don't even remember what I was talking about, but to answer that question though.
Not because you had brought in him.
I did
a couple times.
Are we saying these folks' name wrong? Listen,
Hall is the one who went to go get the cheese,
and then
him was the one who sat back. Yeah, him wasn't him.
Okay,
if you get what I'm saying. He wasn't him. He was not.
No, I'm saying though, you need those friends around, but the journey. I was talking about the journey though, brother, and getting there and
people playing their roles.
Playing the roles and understanding and so Hall saw within himself that he had to grow and he needed to elevate to a new space to go find his cheese wherever that was, and he knew that there was more out there, and so yes, him stayed back and he did what he did. And sometimes we can fall back into ourselves and that inner person, we can be our worst enemy.
Yeah.
You feel me? And so, he knew that his cheese, whatever it was gonna come to him, whatever the case may be. But I feel like, to answer that question though about what do I think happened to him though, I wrote something down about the I would like to, I'm going to read it word for word.
Go ahead.
I would like to believe that him got tired of sitting there alone and hungry and tightened up and started to navigate through the maze. When he started to find notes along the way that affirmed that he was on the right path, which was powerful in two ways, which I just felt like I was just talking about him writing words of affirmation out there, but also giving his friends something to know, that let them know that they're on the right path. And that kind of hit me in a way, bro, because people that's for you, first off, when you recognize that you're ready to change and there's something else meant for you, sometimes you're going to have people that's in your life that's not going to be meant for that part of the journey. You know what I'm saying? Just because you started with someone don't mean you're going to finish with them, right?
Yeah.
So, that being said, when it comes to your journey, when you have those people around you, you have to understand when it's time for you to elevate and move on to the next level. And once you do that, people see they're gonna do one or two things. They're either gonna follow you or they're gonna not follow you. You feel me?
Yeah.
And so it's on you to make sure that you just lead in your right path to what you're trying to do and obtain the goals that you're trying to obtain. And if those who are meant to follow or at least come into the spectrum, they're gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna hate. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be like, oh, okay, you doing this, and they're gonna be like, bro, what do I need to do? You feel me? And they're gonna start trying to do the same thing. And that's how you see most people around their circle. They elevate. I mean, our counterparts. We black people, man. But when you talk about our other counterparts, but white people, that shit is instilled within birth, bro. Nigga, Billy, Johnny, even shit, not even just white, nigga. Let's talk Hispanics, let's talk Indians, everybody get the little they folks be working at a young age, you know what I'm saying? And they start instilling these things in them within young ages, you know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like people who's gonna follow you, bro, people who are meant to go on the right path with you, man, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna lead the way, and that journey is gonna come when that journey is gonna come with folks who are supposed to follow with you.
I agree with you, man. I agree with everything you said. In terms of people, accepting change, especially having to understand changing friends, because ultimately, show me your friends, show me your future, is the thing that always kind of rings in my head. For me, there's been years of seeing some people go that has been, it hasn't been too devastating, but it's just been moments where you've seen people in life that, you thought were going to rock with you for a good amount of time. You've seen those periods kind of come and go. just another aspect of change that is something that, you know, I have, you know, dealt with some time. And so, yeah, man, this book can kind of get talk too deep in it, man. Getting a little therapeutic,
because
bro.
it's used for all sense, all ways in life. Like that's what it's meant for. It's being able to be able to look at your friendships, look at your job, look at how you eat food. You can look at whatever you want to and use this same situation and this book to be able to help elevate you in life. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about, you know,
I'm sure they got
the
it.
tools that's given to you.
I'm sure they got it in audiobook. As Jessica
sure.
shakes her head, they definitely got it in audiobook.
So Jay, what do you think happened to him?
I think my thing with him was that he just always felt so pessimistic. Even at the beginning of the book, when like both him and Ha were just kind of like, yeah, you know, we deserve our cheese. We should just stay here. This is ours. And at a certain point, like you could just see Ha was like, well, wait a minute, man. Like we've been saying this for some time, and insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So Ha went out there, and even when Ha would come back and kind of talk to him about, yo, there's something out there, we should continue to go back out there, him was just so pessimistic and just, and I think that as, when you sit back and say there's certain people who have to play a certain role, I think there are just certain people who are just hymns.
There are.
Where it's just kind of like you can't see the world. Like you can't see that the change is within to save your life. Like you just can't see it. Because circumstances being what they are, it's the only true change happens from within. You want to change everything else around you, you have to change what's going on inside you. And so I think that him just really struggled with that, for reasons.
You only allow things to affect you as much as you do. Like if anything happened, if I was slap you in the face, Jay, whatever, like you make the choice to be like, yo, I'm finna beat this nigga RJ ass in this apartment right now. You hear me? You can mop me through the floor, or you can be like, yo, I'm a bless this nigga. I'm gonna let him have it. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like it's just all about how you look at it, and how you interpret it, and how you decide to live out life. And it's all about perspectives, bro. Like, who am I to say that you wrong for looking at it the way you did? I'm just a person. It's my opinion, but like, bro, it's your life.
Yeah.
So it's how Jay interprets how I just slapped you in the face.
Yeah, sometimes change is a slap in the face, and it's just like, what are you gonna do about it? And so,
what are you gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? And what's gonna float your boat to get you to the next step in life?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Is me whooping his ass gonna do something? Is that gonna elevate me to this next step? Or you know what I'm saying? Nah, for real, bro. You gotta do that. Like, that's a real statement. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta look at its decisions and once again, elevating and looking, reflecting, bro, and like, where is that gonna put you towards your growth and where you trying to be at in life?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how ask me, how do I look at growth throughout my life and all that good stuff. Like, bro, it's taking in decisions, because sometimes, like, y'all don't know Rodney. Y'all don't know Rodney. Rodney make decisions, goddamn, and don't care. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But RJ is the person that be like, you know what, I'm trying to elevate to a new level. Now y'all know RJ Miller in life. You get what I'm saying? Like,
that's why I addressed as RJ Miller. I was like,
RJ Miller, you don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
Rodney
Rodney on that.
Rodney get a little rocky up in here.
Huh?
Rocky. I said Rodney get a little
Nah,
rocky.
he not rocky. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't care what people. He really don't care.
Yeah,
And I'm saying it like he's an alter ego, like it's myself, but like.
Ma.
When you operate, when you have to elevate, you have to wear different hats. And that hat, I feel like Rodney hat is a nigga who just don't care, because that's the man that like when you go in the system, they got your whole name. Ain't no RJ Miller when you go in the system. It's Rodney Miller on your wristband and all that junk. You feel me? So like, it's a real thing.
You speak on this duality. When we were talking outside about W.E.B. Du Bois, W.E.B. Du Bois wrote in Souls of Black Folk about how black people have to have this duality living in America.
You have to.
So,
you have to know how to operate. White people don't get that talk. Black people have to have that talk, like how to move and go throughout stores. Unfortunately, we didn't see these things happen time and time. Trayvon Martin walking around with hoods on in the neighborhood that you can't wear. Like, these things happen so often, but these are talks that Black people are having with their kids and should be having with their kids quite often, how you carry yourself.
Yeah.
Because it matters. You know what I'm saying? How other people perceive you, unfortunately. Are you just another nigga? Or are you one of the good boys? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how that, I mean, essentially, that's what the world is almost going to if you want to look at the system, at the society-wise. But, you know, in the same time, we grown and we trying to, you know, figure out what's next for the black folks, you know?
Yeah, with growth and change.
Yeah.
Let's hit this last question, man, and we're going to go ahead
question?
and wrap it on up. I said, last question was, who would you recommend this book to? And I want to answer first, man, just because, you know, this conversation has really been flowing well for me, you know, even though I'm cloud nine. I recommend it to men in general, black men specifically. The amount of change that we just go through, and it's the amount of change that we go through that we don't speak of. You know, a quick read like this kind of just help refresh you and just let you, you know, help one understand that, you know, change is something that's going to happen, and it's best to kind of have your plans for change. And, you know, this gives very good messages and parables on how to best maneuver change in, you know, your work life and your personal life. So, you know, black men who are going out there, you know, if you riding around, you about to do a quick workout or whatever, just pop the audiobook in, just give it a listen, and just, you know, it's always about what we consume. And so, you know, consume that good energy, consume those good quick reads that, you know, can get you through, you know, the next day, the next week, month, and, you know, moving forward through life. So that would be who I would recommend the book to.
Let me reevaluate my answer. All right, but I'm gonna just read it straight from straight from the Illmatic. You hear me?
Let's do it.
To truly understand this book, you need to be in a particular place in your life. So I've already kind of said a lot of these things throughout this podcast. But to truly understand this book, you need to be in a particular place in your life, not necessarily financially, but in terms of your mindset. You must be open to growth and willing to envision something different for yourself, regardless of how others perceive you. If people genuinely care about you, they will support your change. They will support your changes. I recommend this book to anyone who has recognized their cheese and wants to pursue keeping and growing it.
Let's go. Let's go.
So, you know, get a cheese too, you know.
Yeah, man. And that cheese, again, is that it's whatever you want in life. If it's that happiness, if it's, you know, that job, if it's that foundation.
Change your mindset and what you want to do, bro. Figure out what it is and lock into that. I mean, if you want to be the biggest drug dealer, dog, don't be the biggest drug dealer. You want to be the best school teacher, be the best school teacher. Figure out what it is that you want to do and work that route and be the best at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, be intentional about it. You feel what I'm saying? That's really what it boils down to. Don't half step it. If you're gonna do it, do it.
You got any more final points, man, before we wrap on out of here, man?
I love y'all, man, and y'all stay safe. And I love the space, and I appreciate this.
Bet, man. Go ahead and get ready for that next book, bro.
Okay.
Young Ace, yeah, you been back there too. Back there in the cut. Get ready. Young Coy, you got anything to say?
Other than this was a phenomenal episode, man. I hope y'all actually got these jewels that these brothers was dropping, man, because, oh, my God, I need to go find my cheese in a minute, bro.
Good folks, this has been another episode of the Cover2Cover Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next episode.